that SFA lobby will bugger them. You know.
By the way, if anybody's listening, I tried last week to get tickets for my good mate coming over for Barca for the Milan game. I'm kind of hoping that with the Celtic Barca being the first one, there will be spares for the Milan game. But if anybody has got any tickets for that one, that's the one I'm wanting. Just 2 tickets. I'm going to have to make an exception this season to go to. Would be the Milan game. If anybody can help me out, know that I deserve it to go. I'm just wanting it for my mate who's wanting to come over. That was all. Because I fucked it up. I never got up there to about 9 o'clock and I missed it. Oh.
No, I was seeing after the game against St Johnstone, as you quite correctly sorted out there, Billy Noel's playing the Emerald Isle pub down the Gallagate at 5:30. That's him doing a regular slot now after every home game, so I might pop in and see the great man work his magic. And then there's a Green Brigade charity night. I think they're sending some folk to Africa for like a couple of mates come over as well to do the school building activities. So there's a few things going on too, you know, so a busy day Saturday. And then there's
can I ask this before you go in, £15 for non-season tickets for adults, £12 if you're a season ticket, £5 concession. What do you reckon to that price?
Yeah, I know there's minimum prices. I know people may think I'm a zealot against them in the PLC. I do realise certain games cost money because there's a police presence. The helicopter that flies above the stadium costs £800 an hour in aviation fuel. So I know these things cost a lot of money to set up. But
dude, I'm not going to hold on. They don't need a helicopter for when we play Morton, surely.
You know, if you tell Police Scotland that, you know, how much football in Scotland actually budgets for the actual Police Scotland organisation in total, you know.
No, but look, the price here. I mean, see for that extra. I mean, they're wanting £20 for a weigh-in and an adult. Now, do you know it'd be better just saying a tenner for an adult and a weigh-in? Would you not get double? Would you not get double the people in and then make the more money on the revenue for the pies and the bovrils in the programme? No, just a thought. I mean,
don't get that. I mean, I was at the. I went to a couple of them. I went to all the cup games that still get apart from the one where the section were out. I was in protest with them, but you know, for me, as I say, if you go to the game against Morton, you're going to see hopefully a beating the squad, but you might see the next young thing coming through, and you see the main stand if you want, and you can enjoy the match, and it's a wee bit quieter, and you see a lot of families there, and it's ideal for people, as you say. You know, I've seen that there's a lot of people tweeting, "Oh, it's me get my Champions League tickets and I've bought my Morton ticket," which is great, but you know, not everybody. I think it's hard for the support in Ireland and England and even for places like Aberdeen to say, all right, by the way, finish work early, we'll get 3 hours of peak traffic, we'll be doing in Glasgow for 8 o'clock on a midweek night, a school night. So, you know, the way public transport is as well, even if I was to take money for nephew or anything like that, I'm not going to get him home before 10:15, 10:30 on a school night. Tom, you know what I mean?
But look at this, you can't tell me they've no missed a trick. They should have gave people the option for a tenner for the Champions League. If you bought your Champions League package, you pay a tenner, you get an add-on away in tenner, because what they're doing now is £12 and £5. So it's £17 for the sake of £7. How much you could have got? I mean, a sales technique what I would have used, right? If you wanted more people in, I mean, I don't know how they're not looking at that way to get more people in. Because that's what certainly Chuckles Green did last season. We all know about it, where the people were getting free tickets in. Because it's bums on seats, just get them in. If you can't do it all the time, but you can make an exception. You can get certain games like this, and I would have thought that a week before the Barcelona, they would have showed some ingenuity. I mean, all right, they probably got it as low as they thought they could budget it at, but I just kind of think that for that £7, right, I would have done a cost cost and a benefit thing, we working out how much it would have been to knock that £7 off, and at the same time, right, as people were queuing up, when you had 60,000 people queued up, right, it only takes 10 seconds for that same person to say, and while you're here, do you want to support the boys the week before the Barca game, with a game against Morton, for an extra tenner, do you want to pay that? I mean, even to goodness, the person at the time said, I've put that extra tenner on, just say you want a Wayne and a kid. Wayne and a kid will give you a Wayne and a kid's ticket for a tenner the week before the thing where you want to support the team on. Aye, there you go. Probably half the time the person wouldn't even use it. So that would be a sales gimmick that I would have used. And then see the stuff they've got on there now, £12 and £5, they can still sell it. But while you've got 40,000 people, trampsing or whatever, 30,000 people going through your door a week before it, I would have offered just a sales gimmick. But obviously that's too clever for PLC to do.
Of course it's Tommy. And listen, I was debating with one of the guys on Twitter earlier on, and where I can't fault him. I might have a bit of a grievance for the price record tickets. I don't have a problem with they're charged for adult tickets. We're looking at Manchester City fans tonight. We're charged €85 for that away game tonight.
Who were they playing? What was the score?
Poles are them. It's they get I think City won. I was scanning a few of the games, but no, I mean, for me the place. I mean, we are going it. There's probably a lot of. The unfortunate thing now is when we were growing up as 10-year-olds, all we really knew about European football was a Panini sticker album and seeing like on the free channels. Now Waynes can jump on iPads and everybody's got FIFA and they know who Neymar is, and you imagine you're a guy sitting there, a woman, and really might be a married couple sitting in a couple of lanes and you can't get tickets for the Barcelona game, and you try your best. So which people are going to say, oh listen, I've got to see Celtic the week before, and if Wayne's young enough, they'll be, oh great, and I think that's what Celtic's. I know Celtic's maybe get their hands tied with the SFA or the SPFL. We're saying, right, it's minimum price, when Morton's want a bit of the money and all that. So, but I think the game, not just Celtic, I think the game in Scotland has really got to give itself a wee shake and say, listen, these competitions, they do used to bother their arses unless, you get the Hibs or the Hearts or whoever you're going to get in the earlier rounds if it's a big game. So, even the semi-finals only get 25,000 at that shithole Hampden, and then the final is a big coup buffer. But
so then the question was, are they going to get less than 20,000? That's going to be 40,000 less, right, than the week before. I mean, I'm not saying it's an embarrassment, right? I'm not saying it's an embarrassment, but what I'm saying is, if that is all they're getting in numbers, then you've got to use other tactics to boost it, because if 60,000 want to go the week before, the week later...
Tommy, you're 100% correct, but the problem is it's logistically as well, because my supporters come from far and wide, and don't get me wrong, you could jump in a motor and you could go in Easterhouse, Drumchapel, Castlemilk, Porcel, Pollock, and go round and give Wayne's free tickets and they'll turn up. But you can't expect fans to drive down to Aberdeen, because it's just not logistically, and I know maybe...
Well then why is it not done then? Why is it not done? See for a game like this, right? Why don't they give out the free tickets to the Waynes then? Say here's an adult and a thing for a game like this. Surely they can box off. They should know that a week before it they can turn around and say, well look, Morton, this is all we've sold, but we want to help. We're doing a thing for the community, and in fact, why don't if you want to pay for a bus, get a few of your fans, give them free tickets for your area, get them into your bit, and a week before it, and then offer it out to the community, and then get these people in. Because if there's people going there as stewards and in a place, and the ground's going to be half empty or more than half empty, then there's a PR. I mean, it's not even about the money. If there's not going to be able to be sitting there, then there's empty spaces there. You're still going to police for it. You're still going to steward for it. You're still going to have to pay for the helicopter.
Well,
so get free people in there. If it's good enough for the Mankey Mob, but they did, we can do it in a different way. Not to do it for the benefit of tax purposes, but do it for the benefit of winning new friends for free tickets for East End. I mean,
I think it's really going to go for me to ministerial level, because we're looking at Scotland and we're seeing these think tanks, and they're putting like millions of pounds into tennis, which is fantastic, but probably the 1% of people who will have the accessibility to actually utilise that money and go on to maybe represent Scotland or whoever they're going to play for. It's fantastic, but very rarely do we ever see all this money getting into. Whereas I congratulate the government and the SFA for setting up the Tory Glen sporting facility and the Ravenscraig one, but they should be about 4 times the size they are. You never
there should be many of them, but see, the thing is, like, look at the gap. Look at the gap in the area, how far it is apart. There should be one of these in almost every third or fourth big area. There should be one at least in Easterhouse, there should be one in fucking Castlemilk, there should be...
But we're looking at the players we bring through. This Mark Volter, whoever his name is, a bloke for Holland. You never had guys like this in the 60s. It was 50s and 60s. It was low talent, but they had the facilities to play on. I would like to say, as you say, that you've got to get people into sport. It's pointless going into saying the kids will come to the Velodrome and watch basketball for, even the prices are charging for that are a fortune, but you never see the Scottish government saying, we're putting £1 million into football, and what we're going to do is, we're going to say to Hamilton, that we'll pay for 5,000 kids' seats for one game. If it's £4 and you make it £2 and we give you £10,000, which is nothing to a government, and it encourages kids to go to football and whatever, but there's nothing of that. It's that football fans in this country are just taking it. There's a peer pressure. You knocked it in the head there, and there's this quite distasteful thing about people saying, well, I've got my Champions League tickets and I've got my Morton ticket, and you know yourself, Tommy, we stood at Celtic Park, on average in a cold December night, if it was middle of the league, you'd be lucky if you had 27,000, 28,000 there. And then, unfortunately, the vulgar Cold War that came about when Mark O'Neill was here, and the man came over, played their illegal activities, and it was a fever pitch if you dropped a point, and if you dropped a point in November, your season was in peril, and the press got told in the national papers. And that's all gone now, but, you rightly says, you're just a scamp for the north of the city, and you've came out with a couple of great ideas. You see guys like Paul Larkin blogging really good ideas and stuff, and it goes to the good ideas club at Celtic Park, and it vanishes, But at the end of the day, the person who at Celtic Park or any football stadium in Scotland, they've got to get with their chief executive at the end of the year, and they've got a target that I've been told in good authority. They're told for every game, you must make this amount of money for it. So the Morton game, they must need X amount of money out of programmes, merchandise, ticket sales, and obviously the Kerrydale bar will be open. The Kerrydale's open tomorrow night for the game, the CSA's open tomorrow night. We're over on the south side of the Fenian Fritter Championship.
The Kerrydale's open tomorrow night? What for the game?
Aye, for the game, aye.
Fuck's sake, is it, aye?
People's right. So
where else did you say was open?
The CSA, they've got a wee tunnel as well in London Road. They're open up for it. Obviously, we're on the south side, Hoddon Court, and there'll be a rolls and fritter before the game and more ice creams, and then in for a couple of refreshments. And then, so it's good, mate. It's a good time, as I say. I'm trying not to be negative because it's a big day for the club and everything. But no, you need great points. But the person, it's the same as last year. I remember, I think it was the day after my birthday, I was at the Rafe Rovers game, and there wasn't many folk there, but you're sort of looking around the ground and you see the flags every week. Probably the boys for Fife maybe kind of make it down, they're all working, or, Greenock guy, alright, it's half an hour mate if the traffic's good, but, it's not the best time of year for communications. The roads are starting to get a wee bit cold and slippy and all that, mate, and then you see people...
It's each to their own. If some people can only budget for those Champions League ones, then fair play, and if some people only want to come to that rarefied atmosphere, then fair play to them, because I've been guilty of that in the past, where the only games I would turn up season out was the Wanky Mob games,
What you quite rightly say is, Tommy, there's a fantastic business opportunity with and I include my area where I'm at, there's a catchment area that maybe £4 where there's an opportunity for somebody to jump 10 minutes in a bus and come and see a good game of football in a great stadium for a very reasonable price.
So there you go. Look at that, right? in between us going to Milan and then us bringing Barcelona